17-year-old transgender boy in Texas has won the state's girls wrestling championship. Now, of course, this story is riddled with controversy because the student, Mac Beggs, did not want to compete with other girls. He wanted to compete with boys because he identifies as a boy. There he is. Now, again, just to be clear, Mac Beggs was born as a female but identifies as male and is currently undergoing testosterone treatments in order to transition to male. Now, Beggs has been transitioning from female to male by using testosterone therapy since 2015, but he is only allowed to wrestle girls. In 2016, the University Interscholastic League, which governs public school athletes, requires student athletes to compete according to their gender assigned on their birth certificate. So the question is, if he's taking testosterone, doesn't that mean that he's taking a performance-enhancing drug that would disqualify him from competing? Not necessarily. So under the rules in the state, if a doctor has prescribed anything, steroids or testosterone to a student because of a medical condition, well, then it's okay. It's not considered a performance-enhancing drug. Now, the story gets really tricky because even though he wants to compete against other males, and he's not allowed to do so, there's now a parent who is suing to basically bar him from competing, period, because the parent is concerned that Mac Beggs could harm other female competitors.
Okay. So in the beginning, when I first read the headline, I have to confess that I thought it was someone who was born male and was competing with females. And I was like, that's a little tough. I don't know about that. And you could say I'm wrong about that, but you know, being born male, you do have an advantage. I mean, you in strength and size on average, okay? But that's not what's happening here. He was born a girl, but he is transitioning to a boy, and he's like, okay, good, then let me go up against the boys. I think I'm a boy, I want to go up against the boys. There he would theoretically have a disadvantage, right? They're like, no, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to compete with boys because you were born a girl. He's like, okay, well, that sucks, but I love wrestling. Okay, so let me, I guess, compete against the girls. They're like, oh, so unfair. Well, okay, then you make up your mind. What do you want me to do?
Well, the interesting thing is the officials in the education world who make up these policies, the superintendents who voted in favor of this type of policy, think, yeah, he should compete with other women or other girls because he was born a girl. So they don't deny that at all. But the parents are mad because the parents are saying, no, what the hell? I mean, there's testosterone and steroids involved. Of course, there's an advantage here. And why is someone who identifies as a boy competing against girls? That doesn't make any sense. Let's go to graphic 30, and this is the interesting component. Now, keep in mind that Mac Beggs is in a certain weight class. That's how wrestling works. And so it's the 110-pound weight class that he's competing in. Now, Texas attorney and wrestling parent Jim Bodwin recently sued the organization to suspend Beggs over his testosterone therapy. He said it exposes other athletes to imminent threat of bodily harm, but his daughter is not in the same weight class as Beggs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd throw that out for no standing, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so then I thought, look, kid is taking testosterone. I can see how that would be an unfair advantage. So let's be fair to everybody,
because
right?
it may not be illegal, but it still is a performance-enhancing drug, even if it's permitted under the rules.
That's right. And so I get that, hey, that seems a little unfair. But the parent not in the same weight class, with the daughter not in the same weight class,
Shush.
you ain't got nothing to do with this. So your concern is not about any safety to your daughter because they're never going to wrestle one another. They're in a different weight class. Your concern is political.
That's right.
Okay, so I have a lot less interest in. Okay, I'm with Ben. That's an easy one if I'm the judge. You have no standing. Move on, get a life, okay? And as Mac Beggs says, look, none of the actual students object. It's only the parents and coaches that are making a giant deal out of this. The rest of us just want to wrestle because that's what we signed up for and that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And instead it's become this giant issue where he's in a no-win situation. So look, how would I, then I thought, okay, always think like, what, shoe on the other foot, what would I do? I've got a daughter. If she's in a wrestling situation and then this is the thing, I'd pull her aside and be like, okay, he's, they won't let him compete in the men's side. He is taking testosterone. So you drew the short straw today. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck. That's it. Go get him, Tiger.
Do your best.
Who cares?
Do your best.
Do your best. And by the way, you didn't necessarily draw the short straw. Just because he's taking testosterone doesn't mean he's definitely going to win, right? And now he has a little bit of an advantage, and you can overcome that advantage, and that's life. Let's move on. Let's compete. Podcast The Young Turks anytime you want. TYTnetwork.com/join.
I think it's weird.
No, it's not weird. In fact, you'll think,
I'm like a smart person.
do it now. TYTnetwork.com/join.